Good morning. Gosh darn, it's November 6th, 2016. Goodness. It's the time of the Dark Mother. Was honored to perform a puja last weekend for Kali, not Kali. It was wonderful. That energy is still pervasive. But let's start. Welcome to Sunday Salutations. Let's stick with the tradition, and I'll walk you through a brief meditation of sorts. So go ahead and salute yourself, the space around you, the things that supported you to get here this morning, food, breath, other people's talents, your will, God's will. And go ahead and salute your breath in whatever current state it's operating, whether you're fixated on the in or the out. Go ahead and allow yourself to be yourself and don't change anything. Make any fine adjustments so you can become comfortable but alert. We're looking for comfort and alertness. Let me turn the mail off so it's not bothering us. And now bring some awareness to your out-breath and extend it past where you think you're done. And then just come back to your breath and notice anything that's changed. And then go ahead and put a pair of lips right at your heart and just breathe in. God's love that's ever present. And see what happens when you allow yourself to do that. No matter what's going on in your life or what's not going on in your life, there's always room to pause and be with God. Allow it to come in and energize you, soothe you, whatever needs to happen. Alert you. Just notice what the essence of that energy feels like. The essence of God that's ever present surrounding us. It is within us and it's constantly surrounding us in all situations. Structures make it look different. But if you take all the structure away, all that's left is God, which is interesting. Just luxuriate in that understanding that's starting to take root But that energy we're calling God is ever present and available. Which brings me to what I'm going to chat about. I'll have some tea. Is this idea of joy. I see so many people and students struggle with this idea of having joy or humor. I can choose either those words on this path with things as they are. There's that sort of always that block of how can I cultivate humor and joy when all this serious shit's going on? It's like, well, that's your problem, is that you keep thinking it's serious shit. This taking yourself so seriously is a real, stumbling block on this path. And the more you take yourself seriously, the more you're making your life difficult. And that doesn't mean you don't have self-respect. Those are two different things. But this compulsion need to be taken seriously, and you take yourself seriously, really farms the ego, which then cultivates the arrogance, which is why people struggle. So I'm going to read a little bit here from Chaigon Rinpoche, Shambhala, the Sacred Path of the Warrior. This is overcoming. Let's see. Do I want to read that? Yeah. It's like this. Good behavior is not meant to build us up so that we can think of ourselves as little princes and princesses. The point of good behavior is to communicate our respect for ourselves and others. He said for others. I put in for yourself and others. So we should be concerned with how we behave. When someone enters a room, we should say hello or stand up and greet them with a handshake. These rituals are connected with how to have more consideration for others and yourself, I added. The principle of warriorship are based on training ourselves and developing self-control so that we can extend ourselves to others. These disciplines are important in order to cultivate the absence of arrogance. So he's speaking rather generally. And then he goes on, and this is where people they put so much energy, where someone can misunderstand this is like he's focusing on how others perceive you, but that's not what he's saying. He's speaking of the generosity of spirit. The capacity to be with people as they are, as the world is, comes from self-discipline. That's what he's saying in a nutshell. And then I'm going to read on here the next chapter, Overcoming Habitual Patterns. He talks about this person that's in Japanese is called the Tiger Club. The word is Tora na Oko, Tiger Cub. It's a pejorative term, right? Like not sophisticated, sophomoric, immature. When a Tudoro type Tiger Cub person who is filled with habitual patterns looks at a warrior, he might feel that the warrior has very tedious existence. That's not what I want to read. Oh, here it is. But a warrior never needs to take time off. It's constant. And that's why it's called spiritual practice, right? This self-discipline, it doesn't stop. Trying to relax by slouching or indulging in habitual patterns only produces schizophrenia. You are such a nice boss and such a good, humorous person at the office, but the minute you come home, you forget everything. You turn on your television, you beat your wife, and you send your children to their rooms telling them you need peace and quiet. One wonders what kind of peace and quiet such a person is looking for. It seems rather that he is looking for pain in a hellish life. So you can't be a warrior in the office and a Tudoro at home. So Tudoro is short for that Tiger Cub in Japanese. What I'm talking about is, what he's speaking there is the disconnection between the constant spiritual practice and appearances. So appearing nice, being nice, but actually embodying graciousness are two different things. Back to humor and joy. You can't cultivate humor and joy if you're not willing to work with the discipline and the discipline of tempering your ego consciously. I think that is a challenge for people because they get so into their story of what's happening to them that they lose sight of the bigger picture. So the practice is when you are taking yourself seriously or you're getting your panties in a bunch around something external or even internal, you stop. This is a real simple practice. You stop and you bring God in. This is one way, like I just showed you. You just stop and open your heart and then bring the essence of God right in your heart. Or you can actually offer up whatever strife you have as an offering to God. The willingness, hear this out, the willingness to offer something so precious as your defensiveness, your expectation, your disappointment, all your precious little things that you're clinging on to, the conscious offering up, not surrendering, but the consciously offering up as a worship piece. That is a powerful, powerful practice. And then that is the practice. How many times in a day are you offended, right? Or overcome, or angry, or disappointed, or judgeful, or blameful, or all that stuff? It's easy to offer up, all these nicey things, but somehow people have not learned how to offer up our nasty bits willingly and consciously, not to get rid of them, but to bring it out into the light of day where God knows that you're actually honoring the fact that you're identifying your asshole nature willingly, not accidentally. That is a pretty powerful practice. That's what cleans the deck, right? Every time we surrender something of our precious little disappointments, judgments, predilections, preferences, aversions, we are willingly tempering our ego. And anytime we do that, joy descends upon us. But don't take it lightly. It's a pretty intense practice, especially those big times where we find out something and you find out that you weren't receiving a bill because they had the wrong address, and all of a sudden you realize that you owe them $3,000. What do? You can get mad, you can get upset, or you can discipline yourself, offer up the shock, offer up the anger, and then deal with it on Monday. Call them, inform them of your new address, and ask them how you can do a payment plan, right? So it's just those kinds of mundane things, right? Let me read you something from Hafiz, a little something that's so beautiful, because he speaks of joy all the time, right? And he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Tripping over joy. What is the difference between your experience of existence and that of a saint? The saint knows that the spiritual path is a sublime chess game with God, and that the beloved has just made such a fantastic move, that the saint is now continually tripping over joy and bursting out in laughter and saying, "I surrender." Whereas, my dear, I am afraid you still think you have 1,000 serious moves. This guy's brilliant. I think I need to talk about spiritual arrogance and the ways that it disguises itself. So I'm going to sign off with just a prayer, and I'm going to start recording webinars, which are going to be for people who can't get to my classes, who have a budget they need to keep because they're going to be very, and we say low cost, $30 for a subscription, and you get the webinars. It'll be like a 30-minute, 45-minute, maybe sometimes an hour class where it's going to be like in this format where it's intimate, mano-a-mano, and you don't have any distractions. So I'm going to do that in a minute here. I'm going to sign off from webinars. Salutations to all those beings suffering at any level of existence. May they be soothed. Salutations to all those beings who showered their help and patience on us. May it come back to them 10 billion-fold. Salutations to all those beings we have hurt by thought, word, or deed, knowingly or unknowingly. May the energy return to them. May we grow in love and understanding. Tat Savitur, Reverend Vargo Divasidimahe, Diyoyo na Pracho Deata. Om. Peace, peace, peace.